Thank you for watching today. We're talking classic rock. Specifically, we're talking Elton John and his album, Empty Sky. This album I had ordered online. I actually have 2 copies. The other one I bought locally at a small record store here in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm ready to take it out. I've got it in a protective cover right now, but we'll take it out and look at it. The outside of the cover is, there's no ring wear noticeable, and it doesn't look too bad. The edges are showing some shelf wear, and it looks like it has probably been stored in a box for a while because it's flat. And if you notice, the spine should be like this so you can read the label, but it's been flattened out, probably because from storage. And the back looks pretty good too. This is really heavier bond because of the year. This was actually from 1969. You do starting to see some ring wear along the top. This is a gatefold, and if you open it up, then on the inside you'll see that the lyrics are in there for the different songs that are on the album. There's no splits. There's starting to be a little bit of separation on the bottom, but I would probably rate this as it's definitely not a very good. I would rate the coverage probably as a good. When I opened this, or when I first received it, I was disappointed when I got the sleeve that it was just looked to be a generic sleeve. So I didn't think too much about it. I think typically when you get a sleeve like this, you think, well, it's a newer sleeve, and I got to feeling it, and I thought, no, wait a minute, this is a heavier bond paper, and it's very yellowed. So I thought, well, maybe it is the original sleeve. And a lot of times if they're not a gatefold, then the sleeve is a lyric sleeve. But in this case, the lyrics are on the gatefold on the inside. So next, we go to the vinyl and look at it. And I'm going to turn the lights up just a little bit here, because I want you to see the sheen that is still there. And I know some of it is glare from the light, but for an album this old, from '69, it does look pretty good. Now, there's some paper scuffs. A paper scuff is simply from sliding it in and out of the paper sleeve. And especially if there's any pressure on it when you're going in and out, if you haven't taken the sleeve out of the cover. So it's common to see paper scuffs. Some of the paper scuffs, by scrubbing, you can get some of it off, but there's no scratches. And I've played this. It plays fantastic. My stereo, I can go, I know the safe range to crank it up, and I'll put it up as high as I can. I've got Clips speakers. 4 speakers, they're about this tall, and I can put out a lot of bass, but the treble coming out of the tweeters on this is really good. So anyway, as far as the vinyl goes, condition wise, I would put this at least a very good, maybe a very good plus. Like I said, the paper scuffs, but as far as listening quality, it's fantastic. I mean, it's very, very good as far as listening. Okay, now we're going to look at the label. And when I received this, and I should say when I ran onto it and went ahead and bought it online, I was a little surprised to see that when I received it, they just had it listed as a DJ 403. And it's technically a DJ LPS 403. Anytime you see a four-digit or 5-digit followed by numbers like this, you get the inclination that there's a chance, outside chance it could be a first pressing. But everyone wants a first pressing. Everyone thinks that their vinyl, especially when you're talking about classic vinyl, that theirs is the best copy, and if they're going to sell it, they're going to sell it for, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's usually pretty rare. But in this case, I was a little impressed when I saw the run out numbers. So the first thing I do, I hop on Discogs and I look the numbers up. Now, there are numbers, and they call it a run out. If you look around, and you won't be able to read them, but I'm going to show you where they're at if you're not familiar with the run out. Outside of the label, they're usually etched, sometimes stamped, and sometimes there's other information on there too besides just what's etched. You really have to look for stamps that could say master disc, which would just be the company from the disc that manufactured it. Sometimes there's notes in here. There'll be whoever did it, did the pressing, will scribe their name, and sometimes there's messages. Anyway, it's interesting to look at the runouts. So I took the numbers off of this, and then of course went to Discogs and found out that what I'm looking at doesn't exactly match. And then I noticed that, and I'll show this to you, that if you look, you'll notice that the different soundtracks are listed, but there are no duration times. I thought, okay, that's odd, but no duration times, okay? So knowing this was an early Elton John, and I could read on the album cover that it's UK, so I looked at Discogs, it wasn't matching up, so I thought, okay, is there anything else that might be a little odd about the album, the cover? And so I found a contact in the UK through Facebook who's actually a member of, in London, of a British classic rock group. It's a private group, but anyway, I had contact information, so I heard back after it took a couple of months, but I heard back and they said to look at the back, and what you want to look for is up here, because this says mono. This isn't mono. The vinyl says stereo. So what I found out, the story was that they actually put a label across here. There were some monos, but they put a label across that said stereo because they didn't want to misrepresent what was inside. But this today still says mono, and you can see there probably was a label on here at one point, but I mean, we don't know because the label isn't there anymore. So he went on to say that there are several other things that you wanted to look for. Check the run out, which I did, and my run out does match the stamped or the etched. So I'm reading right now, it's DJLPS 403A2H. More importantly, there should be, if it's a first pressing, a British first pressing, it will also have HV, which mine has. But they don't list it on Discogs, probably because no one has posted one on Discogs. Anyway, so I went through that and found out that the individual I was emailing with, had checked his collection, and sure enough, he has the same thing I do. And yes, he verified it is a first pressing. The one that he has, he said, is in near mint condition because it was passed down through the family. So I thought, okay, well, this is really cool, but the big question now is there's no information online about it, so what's it worth? And he said he estimated $100 to $300. If it's obviously in really good condition, then you would be in the upper range. Well, my cover's not great, and the vinyl, although, is pretty good. So I thought, for my own purposes, I'm going to list it at $135. Now, that's just, again, for me. And so I'm going to show you how I do this now. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so I put labels on everything. Once I get a new album in, I clean it, deep clean it. I have my own process that I use. It is a water bath system, and there's a detergent involved that is made for vinyl records. And then I put it in a rice paper sleeve, and then in this outside sleeve protector. And then I put a label on it just for my own information. But in this case, you can read down the side Elton John, and then the Empty Sky, the name of the album, the year, and then below that is my inventory number. And down the center, the country of origin, which in this case is the UK, and then what I paid for it. And then on the right side, going down, I usually put something on there. In this case, I put, it's a first UK press, which in the US is a little unusual, a little rare. And then condition, the first condition would be the album, the vinyl itself, in this case a very good plus. And then the cover condition I put as just good. And then what I value it at. So if you were to go online and look this up with the numbers I've given you, then you're going to find some on eBay for probably, you know, $10 up to $30 or $40. I actually found some that look almost like this, but the artwork is different, and they're calling them first pressings. And the back, you can see from the picture, obviously in the back it says 1975, which is a first US pressing. Huge difference in value. A first UK pressing, this was pressed on June 6th, 1969 was when this was released. And in the US it wasn't pressed here until 1975. So big difference in value. You can probably find a first US pressing in the $20 to $40 range. I found some listed as $35, but I bought records online from multiple sources before that are originals or first pressings, and I get them in and they're not. So anyway, it's always, if you're buying something online or even in a small record shop and they claim, the only way that you're going to know for sure is that you have to get online and look up the run out numbers. So that's it for today. If you like my video, don't forget, hit the subscribe. I'm going to be going through more of the, I would call them unusual or maybe special to me albums that I've got in my collection. Thank you for watching.